Hi everybody, I'm Professor Rad, and today we're going to talk about how you find the percentage of an amount. In other words, let's say I tell you like a percentage of a total amount of something. So like 45% of students in the class were male, or 63% of the pumpkins in the garden were yellow. And then I wanted to know, well, how many people were those 45%? Or how many pumpkins was that 63% of pumpkins? So that's the sort of question we're going to be solving. So to solve these questions, you're going to take that percentage and make it either a decimal or a fraction. So to make it a decimal or a fraction, you can divide by 100 or move the decimal point to the right, or sorry, to the left, 2 spaces. So either divide by 100 or move the decimal point over 2 spots. Then we're going to take that result that we just found and multiply it by the amount given, or the total amount of something. So let's work through an example. This example says a general guideline states that you should spend roughly 30% of your monthly income on rent. Oops, excuse me here. So it says if Haley's monthly income before taxes is $3,250, how much money should she budget for rent each month? Okay. So our first step is to write the percentage as a decimal or a fraction. So we have 30%. I'm going to write that as a fraction. So I'm just going to put the 30 over 100. Then we're going to multiply that by the amount given. So it's a percentage of her monthly income. And so her monthly income is $3,520. So that's what we will be multiplying. So I'm going to do 30 out of 100 times 3,520. Make sure I don't reverse my digits here. 3,520. And I get 1056. All right, so that means Haley should be budgeting $1,056 for rent each month. So now she knows how much she can afford if she goes, apartment hunting. All right, let's look at another example, and this time the example is going to use a bar graph. Okay, so in this example it says a study collects the eye colors of 200 people and summarizes their findings in this bar graph. So we've got some people had blue eyes, brown eyes, and green eyes. Now, one thing that's really easy to overlook when you have a graph of some kind is this information in a paragraph on the top, or sometimes it's on the side, depending on, the layout of the information. That paragraph for these questions is absolutely necessary because they're telling us that they looked at 200 people. This number is going to be the total. This is the number we're going to be multiplying the percentage by in order to solve these questions. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on part A. It says, what percent of people in the study have brown eyes? So I'm going to be looking at the brown eyes column, and I need to take the percentage I find and turn it into either a fraction or a decimal. So brown is pretty tall, and it goes up to this line here. Make sure I didn't shift. Yep. And so how much is each of these lines worth? Let's see. If this is 50 and this is 60, I'm going to guess it's probably 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes. So each of these dotted lines is representing 2%. So this is 2, 4, 6. That's going to be 56%. Okay. So we have 56%. Oh, and it wanted to know a percent. So actually, that's all I have to do. Let's just say 56%. That was easy. Okay, I think I was overcomplicating it to start with. So let's look at part B. Part B now says how many people, haha. Okay, that's what I was thinking the last one was going to be about. It says how many people in the study had brown eyes. So we know the percentage of people was 56%. Now we have to figure out how many people is that. So this is where I'm going to take that 56% and put it over 100. And then I need to multiply by the total number of people, which we identified to be 200. So I'm going to multiply that by 200. And I got 112 people. Now, if I wanted to check that, I could do 112 divided by the total, right? Make that fraction. And then I can move the decimal point over and get 56%, which matches the percentage we had. So that's a good check. All right, let's look at part C. Part C says, suppose the national percentage for people with brown eyes is the same as the percentage found in the study. If the nation has a population of 38 million people, approximately how many million people have brown eyes? Round your answer to the nearest million. Whew. Okay. Okay. So I'm kind of going through and I'm highlighting the things that jumped out at me as I read through that. So we have a population of 38 million people, and we want to know how many million people have brown eyes, and we're going to round to the nearest million. Now, this first part is saying that the national percentage for people with brown eyes is the same as the percentage in the study. So the percentage in the study for brown eyes was 56%. So we still have that 56% that we're going to be using. So I can change that into a fraction or decimal, and I want to multiply by the total amount. Now, in this case, they're kind of using that word million like a label, and I can tell that because it says how many million people instead of just how many people. And they're also telling me to round to the nearest million, so I'm kind of using million as a label here. So I'm going to multiply by 38. And if you want to, you could write the word million there. But because they're using the label of million, I'm not going to write out all the zeros, basically. I'm not going to put it into standard form. So let me go ahead and multiply my 56 out of 100 by 38. And I get 21.28 million. Then it said round to the nearest million. So that's going to be the ones place in this 21.28. So because this 2 is less than 5, that's going to stay a 1. So I'm going to say 21 million. There we go. Alrighty. So here are some questions for you to try on your own. In the next video, we will move away from percentages and look instead to rates and solving problems that involve rates. So I'm looking forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, have an excellent day. Bye for now, everyone.